Hello and welcome to Database Show and Tell, Database Platforms in Action. Today's exciting webinar is sponsored by DataStax and produced by Actual Tech Media. My name is Jess Steinbach with Actual Tech Media, and I'm so happy to be your moderator for this DemoCast. I keep saying this, but you know, a demo is the best way to get to know a tool, to make sure that it's going to work for you. And there's a lot of research that goes into choosing a new tool or a solution, and it can take a lot of time to sit down and demo all of them. So these DemoCasts give you an opportunity to kind of dip your toe in the water, to lightly explore a solution or a tool and see if it's going to be a good fit for you before you really commit to kind of jumping in a little bit further. So we've got a top expert here from DataStax to walk us through some key elements of their solution and how it might solve some of the database issues that your organization is facing today. Now, I know we're all thinking more and more about data, how to collect it, store it, utilize it, and I'm guessing that this is top of mind for a lot of you out there. So I'm going to zip through our DemoCast housekeeping today, and then we'll jump into our session. So first, I'd like you to look at your audience console. Now, there's two things that I really want to point out. They're side by side. One is the handout tab and then the question tab. So the question tab is a great place to say hello, connect with other people that are out there in the community today. So be sure to give them a wave. But it's also an opportunity to ask those questions. So you can get those in directly to a data expert. So make sure that you get your technical questions in today. Now, these events are designed to be short and punchy, so if we don't get to your question during the demo, don't worry about that. We will send all of the questions to the DataStax team, and we will make sure that you get some answers back from them. Now, you can also use that questions tab to get in touch with the Actual Tech Media team. So if you do have any tech issues that come up during the DemoCast today, don't worry about that. A browser refresh is probably going to clear out any of the more usual ones, but if they're being a little persistent, shoot us a message and we'll be there to help you out. All right, so now I mentioned the two things that we were going to talk about. One was that questions tab, and then the other one is the handouts tab. So if you click into that handouts tab, you're going to see some great resources to go along with our webinar today. You can check out some upcoming events, read through the Gorilla Guide Book Club, and be sure to click on the DataStax link and start exploring there. Now, it is not just awesome content that we will be giving away today. We also have a $300 Amazon gift card that we will give away to one lucky winner. Now, I'm going to remind you that you must be in live attendance at the webinar here today, and you must meet all of the Actual Tech Media prize terms and conditions. If you're not sure what those terms and conditions are, that's fine. I don't expect you to have those memorized. Head on back over to that handouts tab. If you click in, scroll all the way down to the bottom, you can find the full T's and C's listed for you there. All right, well, folks, I told you I would keep it short and sweet, and I did. That's all the housekeeping information that we have to get through today. So let's get into our demo. I'm so excited to introduce you all to David Joy, Senior Data Architect at DataStax. David, I know that you have a very exciting demo lined up for us, so I'm going to hand the mic on over to you.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much, Jess, for introducing me. And it's been an absolute pleasure to connect with you and to be here to speak to everybody. What I'm going to be doing in this demo is, introduce you to Astrodb, which is our, multi-cloud database as a service that is built on Apache Cassandra. So the simplest way to kind of understand this is Cassandra on the cloud, but fully managed. So we'll have about 7 to 8, maybe 10 minutes where I'm going to kind of show you the product, as well as show you the art of the possibility for developers and architects and for enterprises and users. So what you see here actually as we begin is the Astra portal, which you can get to access by going to astra.datastax.com. And once you get there, you can create an account with your GitHub or your Google. And once you have created the account, which is actually free, everybody gets about $25 worth of free credit, which is about 30 to 40 million reads and writes. We will come back to why that is important, as well as about 80 gigs of data for storage. So it's a lot of free credits for someone to get started, do like a quick POC, or if somebody is curious to learn. So here I have already created my account. So I'm just going to log in with my credentials, and that's what you're going to see. I'm actually logging in, and as soon as I log in, what you're seeing here is the Astra portal, is the main dashboard. And as you can see here, I have all the different databases that I've already created, and some of the streaming topics that I've created, which is also part of the product. But in today's demo, we're going to focus on the database part of Astra, which is Astrodb. And what we'll do is we'll create a new database and see how it kind of comes together. So all we have to do to get the database started is actually click on this button called Create Database, or we can even do Create Serverless Database. Click either of these buttons. It's going to take you to this new page where you have to create a database. So here I'm going to call it demo_live_db, which is my database name. And then I'm going to create a key space. Now, you must be thinking what a key space is. A key space essentially is a schema or a wrapper under which you create all your tables. So we're going to call it KS. Let's just call it live_KS. And you create all your tables under this, and you can even create multiple key spaces later, but it's essential for you to create a database name as well as a key space name. And then you pick whichever cloud provider that you want to choose where you want to run this database on. So here I have Google Cloud, AWS, as well as Azure. Let's just go with Google Cloud right now. And let's say we select US East 1. And we click on that, and we just click on this button called Create Database. Now, as soon as you do that, the database is getting provisioned, and it's going to show you a new page, which will show like it's getting initialized. The key thing for you to know is that creating a database in Astra is actually super easy. It's just a few clicks of buttons, whatever I showed you, but it is also at the same time provisioning an elastic database. So the entire architecture of AstraDB is actually built with Kubernetes. Now, what that means is that every service that we have in Cassandra, we have spent millions of dollars looking at Cassandra, breaking it up into small services so that each one of them can be scaled. So we have a compaction service, we have the data service, all of them has been broken up into small pieces so that they can be scaled. And here, as you can see, the database is kind of finishing up and it's getting started. But what is happening is all these different services are getting provisioned and the entire database is getting ready. We also have like some client tokens available here that you can download if you want to connect to the app. There is another way to access this, which I'll show you later. But the bottom line is the database is getting provisioned. It's a scalable database that we are creating called DemoLiveDB. It's called DemoLiveKS. It's on Google Cloud, and it's going to be provisioned on US East 1. So while this gets provisioned, let's go back to the main page and see what we see there. So as soon as we go there, you can see that DemoLiveDB is already live. So within the span of like 30 to 45 seconds, this database is live, up and ready to go. What you see is you are seeing some metrics here that shows read requests are 0, write requests are 0, storage consumed is 0, and data transfer. Now, these are 4 very important metrics for Astra because Astra is a completely serverless solution. What that means is, traditionally, when you compare IaaS, where you provision infrastructure and you pay for what infrastructure you provision, in the case of Astra, you're not going to pay for infrastructure that you provision, but for what you use. What we have done is brought in true cloud economics to users who want to use the product to what really their needs are. So if you do, let's say 10,000 reads, 10,000 writes, say store 50 gigs of data and do maybe 25 gigs of data transfer to another region, that's all you really need to pay for. So you pay for what you use. So this is truly a serverless solution. And we were actually the first database platform in the NoSQL space to build this solution out, so on the planet. The other thing that you want to be aware of is that we have already provisioned this on Google Cloud in North America. Let's suppose you want to provision this and expand this database to another region. You can actually click on this button called Add Region. It's going to pop up a screen where you can actually select which region do you want to run this on, let's say, or expand this to, let's say, US West 1, and then just click on Add button. You have some metrics around how much it costs, and that's it. If you want to add a key space, you can just click on this button called key space, put the key space name, and add another key space. So that's the other thing. Now, before I actually kind of show you all these different panels, let me show you how easy it is for you to switch between different organizations. Now, enterprises today don't have one org or one line of business. You have multiple different lines of business. You may want to add some sense of multi-tenancy, or you want to expand or have different teams work on different databases. So you want to have a better org setup for that, right? So you can easily create different organizations or different flows as you want it. Here, what we have is multiple organizations that I have created, and I've created this org called partners. So I'm going to actually switch to that org, and let's dismiss some of this information because it's can be a little cluttery. But now, as you can see here, we have the partners organization. And within the partners organization, you can see that I have 4 databases that are hibernating because I'm not using them. But I also have telco billing, which is one database that I created. And you can see here, I've done like 41 reads here on this database, about 4 gigs of data stored, about 118 gigs of data transfer. You can see that this is a multi-region database because it's running on US East 1, EU Central 1, and Asia Pac on AWS. So it's a much more, multi-region, highly available database. But let's go in and see how the health dashboard looks like. What we have done is we have kind of integrated Grafana and metrics into the dashboard to make sure that every developer who does anything or teams that manage this have view of what's going on. So here you can see we have all these metrics available, for read requests, write requests, what is the distribution looking like, and latency. Now, all of this is actually a condensed view. If you want, you can actually go in, select that dashboard, actually copy that URL, actually open it on another dashboard if you want to, if you're doing some performance tests. Comes in handy when, as a developer, you're doing performance testing, or if you have teams that are doing performance to kind of see what's happening. Are you seeing any errors and stuff like that? So it kind of helps you out there. We also have an API available in case you want to expose these metrics out to, Datadog or Splunk if you want to. So you could do that as well. But most of the time for folks who are starting up the journey, this is actually a good option. We also have a connect page. Now, traditionally, if you use Cassandra, what you could do was actually connect through the drivers that were available, Node.js or Python, Java. You could even connect with Spark if you had the Spark Cassandra connector. But one of the things we did as a company was look at the different paradigms that are important to developers. And we realized that developers want to build applications without having to manage or learn or relearn, right? So what can they do, with the APIs that they already know? So what we did was we integrated these APIs into the solution itself. So today we have Document API, GraphQL API, and REST API as options available for users to actually connect their application that they have written to the database that they create with these APIs. Now, just to show you how powerful this is, you can see this, app that I created. I built this app actually a few months ago to kind of demonstrate that each block that you see here in this app is actually a microservice that is calling a REST API or a GraphQL or a Document API endpoint. All of this information is actually coming from this database that I'm showing you, which is Telco Billing. And you can actually switch this to like the billing page, and you will see some of this metrics is actually flowing from there. And then if you go to the shopping page, this is actually a new page that I had added. This is completely powered by GraphQL. Now, that's the art of the possibility for developers. As you build different microservices, as you build different elements in your application, you want to build it in an agile way. And having this API experience kind of helps you accelerate and go to market faster. And that's what we have done. We also have traditional, access patterns available like Node.js, Python drivers, C++, C#. We also added a gRPC client for Rust, Go, and Node.js. All these are available. The idea is you can do whatever you want. But the advantage also is to avoid database sprawl. Like, for example, if you want to save data in the form of a JSON, you can now do that with the Document API. If you want to access that data back with GraphQL or REST API, you could do that as well. So you have the capability to do multi-model on the same database. You don't have to create multiple different databases. The same database can actually handle multiple patterns and give you the opportunity to reduce your TCO, as well as help you build a single solution from a single database without a database sprawl. So that's also an advantage. The traditional method is still existing here, right? For example, if you want to connect to your database, you can do that and connect on the database portal through SQL console that you see here. So I'm doing use telco billing, key as that is the key space. And then I'm going to say, show me all the tables. And you can see all my tables are available. And then I'm going to say, let's say I want to see data in this table called shop smartphone. Then I'm going to just say limit it by 5 to kind of see all of this data. As you can see, Samsung, Google, S21, all of this data is actually the same data that you're seeing it on this page. So when we actually made a call on this page, the shopping page, it actually used the GraphQL API through the microservice that we have built in to call this database, get exactly this information, and render that back into the front end. And all of that happened within milliseconds, right? So that's the advantage that you have here as you build this application, or as you build your applications, you have this single solution. The other thing that we have built into the platform is, change data capture. Again, for this particular solution, because this is an older database, I created it before we enabled CDC. It shows that it doesn't support multi-region. But let's go back, as it's a good segue, back to the database that I created previously for this demo called Demo Live DB. As you can see here, I have CDC. I can actually enable CDC by selecting a region, selecting the key space, and the table that I want to monitor on. So what that really means is not just the part of upstream where you can connect to the application. We are also handling downstream, where any change that happens on any table can be pushed downstream to your machine learning data store or your enterprise data warehouse. So the idea was we wanted to build a holistic solution that kind of helps you understand what the art of the possibility is with all these different solutions that you're trying to build. So hopefully this has given you an idea of what the art of the possibility is with the Astrodb platform. Just as you can see, we also have a settings page. The settings page is where you can actually create a private endpoint. So what we recommend typically is that instead of connecting via over the internet, you create your own private endpoint and then connect it with your VPC. We also have a list of IP access restrictions. So if you have IP addresses that you want to restrict, you can upload them here and those IP addresses will be restricted. We also have a premium feature to kind of export some of these metrics out. If you wanted, you can add a destination and the API will kind of automate some of that experience. Again, if you want to kind of terminate any of the database, you can actually click on terminate database and the database will terminate, and you don't want to do that if you have a lot of data, right? So just at a high level, wanted to kind of introduce you to that. The other important thing is, how do folks actually connect to the database? How do folks role management happens? How do you kind of cater to different users, their different needs, and also keep the compliance level and integrity of the system? So for that, as I was saying, we can create multiple organizations, but we can also create different types of roles. So let's suppose I am in this org called David .joy at DataStax, which is my default organization name. Let's go back and see how manage organizations looks like. So when you click on that button, it's going to take you to this page where actually I can see how many users are connected, who is the admin for that particular org, and how many different databases I have. So for example, this particular database, we have way too many, like 23 databases here. Like my own organization, I have 7 databases, but I own it. So that's why I haven't changed. If you want, you can actually switch between organizations from here, as well as from the link that you saw. So I can actually switch by clicking on those 3 buttons there. We go to the new organization, and then let's go to organization settings. So as you see here, I have a bunch of different users on this partner organization, and I can invite other users if I want to, add their email, and give them the type of access that I want to give. You have the flexibility to do that. But the other important thing is how to create custom roles. So let's say you want to create custom roles for your database, or you want to just give specific access for specific things like altering a key space or selecting a table or different functions within the database. You could even do that. So as you can see, we have added all these different features and kind of made this into exactly what users today would want as they develop their solutions. All these other features are also available. We can come back and talk to you more about it. But the best thing I would say is go to astrodb.datastax.com, just create an account and start using it. You can, if you have any issues, we have extensive documentation available as well as live support by clicking on live chat. So hopefully this has really helped you kind of understand what the product is, given you an art of the possibility of what developers can do today. Hopefully I was able to help you kind of visualize it. So with that, Jess, I think I maybe went a minute or two over, but if you have any questions in the chat, I'd be happy to take it right now.
Oh, thank you, David. That was just an awesome demo. Great info, a really clear walkthrough of the Astrodb portal. I enjoyed the heck out of that. I'm sure our audience did as well. We have lots of questions coming in already, and I want to get to as many as we can. So are you ready to jump in?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Okay. This first one here, somebody was sort of mentioning you had listed a few of the tools that Astrodb includes. Wondering if you could give us a little bit more information about the full tool chest that's included in Astrodb.
Right. Yeah. So as you've seen, the ones that I'm most excited about is the Target APIs that I showed you. and then the SQL SH console. Those are already built into the solution. But we also have like, the Astrodb data loader. For example, I mean, if you're on this page, right, we can actually go to this button over there that says load data. And that's a tool for you to load CSV that you have to, start testing around. We also have a different tool that is not available here, but it's in our documentation called DataStax Bulk Loader that you can use that allows you to bulk load data, or you can also connect through Spark with a connector to push data in. Those are tools that we have provisioned in the ecosystem that the teams can access if they have those needs. And the other thing you already saw was the metrics dashboard, because that's also integrated. So all these tools are kind of built into the solution.
Yeah, I liked that metrics dashboard. It's nice. The reporting is really nice there. Okay, so another question here from our audience. Question about DSE or DataStax Enterprise. How is Astrodb different?
Right. So DataStax Enterprise is actually a self-managed solution, and Astrodb is fully managed. So in the case of DSE, it's actually a solution built to cater to folks who want to manage running the nodes and kind of having a team to manage that, right? DSE also comes with it's a great solution that it comes with built-in, analytics, search and, graph capabilities. But when it comes to, having a fully managed solution, it doesn't do that. And we are realizing more and more, especially after COVID, that folks want to do digital transformation, but they don't want to manage the technologies because, of course, they want a solution that can scale. And all of this requires resources. We are seeing lots of folks going for this reduced TCO, and having an elastic solution like Astrodb is more helpful. So depending on what the appetite is, what the enterprise wants to do, you can pick and choose, and we'll support both. But again, there is an advantage what Astra has that DSE doesn't have, and there are some advantages that DSE that folks want to use, and that's why they pick that. So.
Okay, well, that actually fits in nicely with this next question. Speaking of resources, so I know this is a little bit outside of what we sort of normally look at in a demo, where we're talking mostly about the technical side of it, but we had a question come up about billing and really in particular, kind of my understanding is that there's a credit card that they're putting down. So what happens if that monthly credit runs out?
Right. So for any free user account, we give like $25 worth of free credit, right? So that is available until you run out on it. So it's not like if you don't use it in the next 30 days, it's not like an offer that gets closed, right? It's always there for you. You can run it down as much as you want in a year or 2 years if that's your need. Typically, how enterprises work with us is when they start using Astra, we understand what their consumption would look like, and we would load that much amount of dollar credits into the account. And $1 is basically a credit. $1 is a credit. And typically based on your utilization, you will burn that down. Today in the market, Astrodb is actually the cheapest serverless solution. I think 1 million writes on Google, if you choose that Google provider, cloud provider, it's going to be around 1 million writes is about 48 cents. So it's really cheap. And for folks who are kind of just starting off, the bills are going to be really minimal. Instead of paying $150 for not doing anything. Like last month, I started a database on GCP, like a server, just a server. I did not use it. I just kept it on without doing anything. And my bill was like $180, which I have to go back to my wife and kind of explain to, because I forgot to kind of stop it. But so that's the issue, right? With cloud providers, if you're not optimally using the solution, you're going to pay bills that are unnecessary. Whereas this is a completely consumption-based model. So you pay for what you use. So it's just, that's the way it'll work. So a little bit more elaborate answer, Jess. So
no, I appreciate that. And I'm sure our audience does as well. And we are running a bit short on time, but I do want to sneak in just two more questions here. So one is, and we get this question a lot about the sort of training support and help, along the way. Not everyone has that full stack team, so they're always looking for a little bit of support. So we had someone asking about workshop projects in particular, but I think also if in general you can kind of speak to the support that somebody can expect when they're working with DataStax and Astrodb.
Yeah, I mean, support is critical for us, right? It's like, so the first thing is you can actually connect to live chat. And live chat will hop in. One of my colleagues actually who's live available, who you can speak to. And right now, as you can see, we have Eric. You can also go to Help Center. And then in Help Center, you have a bunch of documentation available that you can use to kind of get some guidance. If not, you can actually create a support ticket. We have a support portal. The other thing as you get started is what is it that you're building? We also have already built in some sample app galleries, sample apps in the sample app gallery. These are some examples, including the telco billing app that I just showed you is also available here. You can choose whatever solution that you're kind of close to building and then use that as, sort of like a screen to kind of match it and kind of learn from. So all these capabilities are built into the product. These solutions are there. And if you need any other help with getting started, we have some people who can connect with you over Slack or an email and kind of also help you out.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so last question. I'm sneaking this in. Before you head out, David, if somebody is really excited, they want to get started, they want to ask more questions, where do they go? What's their first step?
Yeah, I think the first step would be like just start using the product. Like just go to astra.datastacks.com, create an account, and just connect with live chat with our team. Our team is fully available all the time, and you can get some info. If not, you can go to datastacks.com, click on Astra as a product, and then you have a bunch of folks that you can connect with as well.
I love that. Well, I do want to thank everyone who asked questions. I apologize that we aren't going to get to all of them today, but I do want to assure you that all the questions will go to David and the DataStax team, so you will get a chance to hear back from them after we wrap our DemoCast today. And a giant thank you to you, David. This has just been an awesome demo and a pleasure chatting with you today.
Thank you so much, Jess. And thank you, everybody, for joining. Appreciate it.
All right. Well, what an awesome demo. Just a great discussion. And hey, speaking of things that are awesome, I'm sure you're all waiting out there for it. It is finally time for that prize giveaway. Now, I'm going to remind you again that you must be present at the live webinar today in order to win. So today's winner of a $300 Amazon gift card is Anne Friel of Massachusetts. Anne Friel of Massachusetts. You have won a $300 Amazon gift card, and we will reach out to you after the webinar wraps today and chat with you about your prize. Well, with that, on behalf of the Actual Tech Media team, I want to thank DataStax for making this DemoCast possible. A giant thank you again to David for such an interesting demo and a really great chat. I had a lot of fun. And on that note, thank you to all of you for attending, for asking some really great questions. These sessions are really only as fun as we all make them, right? That old cliche. So I hope you've enjoyed this quick dive into DataStax and their solution as much as I did. And I really hope that you're all walking away feeling powered up to start some more research on your own. Sessions like these are really just the start. It's dipping your toe in and learning a little bit. And now you get to head out and explore on your own. So, hey, whether it's a DemoCast, a Tech Talk, an Expert Series session, a Summit, a MegaCast, an EcoCast, I can't wait to see all of you at a webinar again soon. And until then, I hope you all have absolutely beautiful ends to your day.